Right, belt time, let's go. So, you already know how to create a belt. We are going to go ahead and grab the IMM curve, but we are going to use the vest as basically the starting point for this, so we do need to duplicate it again. We will hide the original this time, and we'll go to Subtool, Geometry, just delete the rest of the subtool information there. Okay, because this, I'll bring back my concept art here, this kind of big utility belt does wrap itself just around the lower end section of the vest. It's important we draw it over the vest. So find a size you're happy with. I might try, size of 70 does look good. It does, I do like that. It may be a tad overkill, but I don't mind it. Let's continue drawing it. That is a big belt. That's a big belt. I'm gonna carry on with it. I kind of feel like let's embrace it. We've got huge collars. Let's make huge belts. Why not? Why not, right? Okay, and just carry it on around the back. Again, it doesn't really matter if the trajectory is off. You can change it. So we don't want to link it though, because it does just do that. So let's draw it out around down here. Make sure it doesn't link it. Just kind of nudge it by touching it in certain areas and reminding it that, hey, excuse me, you have got geometry to wrap yourself around. And of course, the automatic autosave is ZBrush. Go away, ZBrush, autosave. It's nice, but sometimes does get in the way. And then that one's kind of gone under there, so just bring it back out and say, oh yes, I meant to be up here, aren't I? And you're like, yes, that's correct. Yes, you're meant to be on top of the mesh I drew you on, not buried underneath. As the belt sheepishly smiles at you, realizing its own mistake. Okay, I said not to join these guys, but actually let's join them anyway. Like that, and oh, catastrophe happens. This is what I didn't want to have happen. So you can see as soon as you join them, it does get a bit, I say a bit, but it goes a bit crazy. You can't pull them down anymore. So let's undo that, and we'll leave them kind of unjoined. Sometimes you can force them around, but you already know what's coming here. We are going to need to use the move tool on that. I will maybe extend this guy up a little bit, and you can see as soon as I do that, it does just want to connect. So that is unfortunate, but never mind. That's okay. We'll work around that. I don't know what that's done. That's very strange. Very strange. Okay, let's alt click. We're happy with that. Okay, somewhat. Let's use our move tool now, and we'll just kind of change the... Do we have to use topological? Yeah, we do. Let's just use the move topological brush just to change where some of this sits and where it kind of ends. So I want this to be a bit higher up. There we go. And then let's go for the kind of angle of curvature here. We want to keep the top kind of against the vest, but we want the bottom to kind of flare out. So let's grab the bottom, and we'll just kind of change the angle of it on it very slightly. There we go. And we can just pull it out a bit more. Okay. So don't worry if your belt starts to get a bit wonky and recessed, because actually we're going to slightly recess it anyway when we start adding detail to the belts. The belts are not flat shapes. They do have like delves, and they have peaks and troughs in them, so don't worry about that. If you're doing these changes and you're kind of creating strange unforeseen undulations, that's perfectly fine. Just get the belt where you'd want it for the time being. Having trouble actually quite selecting the belt here, which is strange. And okay, just see where you are happy wise. If you're happy with where it is, I'm quite happy with it being there, I reckon. That's pretty good. I feel like that's a good place to put it. I might just exaggerate a bit more, bring it out there. And then of course we've got one belt that kind of comes across down here. So let's go ahead and we'll create that whilst we're here. But this is a smaller one, so we're going to reduce the size. The last one is about 70. Let's try 50 strap. And a 50 size strat, or 48 point whatever, that seems pretty good. Let's just absolute that value, and it does start somewhere here, and we want it to go underneath the breast there. And again, it's kind of gone all wonky. Just remind it of the surface it's meant to be adhering to. And I think it might be worth turning off the ruffled collar so we can see what's going on. There we go. It is trying to take in the fold over there as well, but that didn't quite work. So I tell you what, let's undo that. We'll draw it without the ruffled collar in there now. And there we go. That's a bit better. And just clicking on it there. You might have to undo it sometimes. There you go. That's basically it. So you do have to, again, play around with this stuff. Now this is basically going to swing all the way back up. It's a sash that goes back into the shoulder guard up here. So let's actually try connecting these guys, and we'll see what kind of result we get. So we are getting a more suitable result. So yes, it is kind of buried in there, but I like the fact that it's not flew up somewhere. Okay, we'll work with this. Let's alt click that somewhere. There we go. There we go. And let's use our move topological brush, and we'll just bring this out. Okay, let's use our move brush. There we go. Sometimes the move topological brush, if you're not selected an actual like poly, then you cannot select the mesh. That's both good and bad thing about that brush. And here we want it to be under the breast, so we're going to have to try and get it to sit under her breast there, because that's where it would go. It wouldn't go over the top of it, because that's a path of more resistance. It's going to take the path of least resistance. There we go. Okay, now we can adjust this a bit. And I'm just pulling this backwards and forwards here just to gradually increase the size, because as I was pushing it under the breast there, it did shrink width-wise. So again, as you move with the move brush, just be aware of some of these things that can happen. There's no way I know of avoiding them, but it just takes a bit of extra time to come in and tweak it up. And we want that over the top there, and it doesn't really matter how this sits because we're going to build something on top of this, but for now let's just tuck it somewhat there underneath a portion of the collar. Okay, let's put it in there a bit more. That's fine. Okay, so let's see about this. Does it look better if it hangs down a bit more? Yes, it does. Okay, so let's hang back down a bit more. There we go. So you can see that our design is, or my design's looking better now that I've gone ahead and put in the straps that were missing from before. Okay, and now we can put the ruffles back in. And you can see that they work quite nicely. It's up to you where you want the ruffles and the belt to sit in terms of their arrangement on top of one another. I think that's okay for now. I don't mind the look of that. Okay, and as we're working in belt mode, let's carry on and we'll actually do the trousers. So we'll have to duplicate these. Okay, we will have to delete any subdivision stuff, and let's go ahead and we'll just put in a belt now, a standard belt using the same IMM curve, and we will just see what a size 70 looks like. Yeah, we don't want it to be as big as the other one that featured on top, so let's stick with a size. We'll go with 60 or 55. Let's go with a 55 size. Oh, what's happened there? I masked everything. Let's go to size 55. Okay, and let's just draw it around here and just go all the way around. In fact, I think I've done it again. Let's isolate it, take out all the other subtools that it may be clashing on, and for this one we will circle it back up again. Although that's... okay, that somewhat fixed it. Interesting. What a strange little kind of brush, isn't it? Never mind, that's okay. We can work with that. Let's go to the move tool, and we will just push these back out as to how they work. At least they are joined, so that saves us the trouble of having to join them up later. Okay. So now we can see what the trousers look like with a belt like that. That looks pretty cool. And like our concept art, this belt is underneath the vest and waistcoat. So that's correctly placed there. Okay. Right. Cool. Right, we've got another thing, another kind of belt hanging off this one here. So we could actually try and keep it on the trouser leg here and see what that's going to do. So let's do that. Let's go back to IMM curve. We'll do another 55 size brush, and then we will alt click that just so that's done with. And then let's just pretend we're connecting it up here, but we'll start it down here because that's the mesh we're drawing on top of. Ooh, that's not a 55 size. ZBrush, don't lie to me. Okay, let's come down there. So this is where the kind of sword's gonna sit, and it'll just go back up to there, let's say. Okay, now the thing about this is it always likes to be a rounded curve. So for this one, I think I will recommend not actually going with joining it back up again. Let's just make it a bit longer than we need it to be. We'll bring it up there, and it'll just sit down there, and we'll just alt-click that to save it. And we're done there. We'll use the Move Topological brush. It's fine because the other belt what we've created is masked, so it's not going to interfere. And let's just essentially just connect that up into where we'd want it to be. So let's see. I think I've created it too long, so if you created it too long, sometimes it's best just to draw it out again. Let's draw it out again. Size 55. And it wants to sit about roughly down there, so that's okay. That looks better. Now let's move them up. There we go. Okay, so that there is ready to affix itself to the other belt once we have a kind of design for the belt, the buckle that affixes it. Okay, and there we go. Alright, now let's do the other one, the other side. Size 55. And now we can just start from here, and then let's say it goes up to there somewhere. Oh, almost perfect. Excellent. There we go. Just sit it on top of the trousers. Alt-click somewhere. Nicely done. And we'll just leave that sitting there, ready for the belt buckle there. And this is going to be under some... it's going to be hidden by the scabbard anyway, so it doesn't matter if these belts don't actually join up. That's fine. Okay. And there we go. I'd say we've pretty much got it there, guys. The only thing we should do now is have a look at this. Have a look at this belt here, and for this belt in particular, if we solo that out, we want this to kind of be as funny shape. We wanted it to be that kind of cleaver shape, didn't we? So let's mask that out, and I'm just going to, whoop, not with the move brush, with the move topological brush. I'm just going to start putting. Let's mask this off. Just going to start putting that form in now, and then we will Z remesh that a little bit later. You can see it's pulling on all the polygons. They're coming, they're all getting stretched. Oh, it's all awful. It's all no good. It's like that Bob Ross moment when he makes a critical, big change to his painting, and you go, oh no, it's ruined, but then he manages to pull it back. Now, I'm not saying I'm gifted with Bob Ross's level of just sheer artistic magic, but there can be moments like that, especially when we're making critical changes, and it's like, oh no, we've ruined it now, but aha! Let's just keep going with it, and lo and behold, it's not ruined. It looks great. It looks better. Okay, cool. Of course, it will have to Z-remesh that. That's not the way we want that looking. Okay. Speaking of, let's go ahead and we'll solo out this stuff. We want this stuff. We want to keep that stuff. I don't know what that is up there. That's obviously error. So let's get rid of that. We will make sure we deselect everything mask-wise. Select the trousers. Mask that up. Select that. Mask it up. And then we'll go to our polygroups. Group masked. There we go. Shift click that. Shift click and drag an empty space so that disappears. And we will delete hidden. Now that the trousers are gone, we can go back to our subtools and solo it out, and there we go, we've got some belts. Okay, fabulous. Now let's go ahead and do geometry. We'll weld the points on that, and we'll go to polygroups and we'll auto groups this. Okay, and we'll go back to our subtools and we'll split them based upon their groups. That's fine, because for this guy here, we don't want to Z-remesh anything else. We just want to Z-remesh this belt, and the other belts are fine, so there's no need to worry about that there. Okay, let's go to polyframe. Let's kind of solo that. Crease. Let's crease the edges. There we go. And we'll try and tell Z-remesher, please do your best to keep those creases, but I will tell you what. We'll tell it to say double the amount of polygons, that's fine, and then Z-remesh that. There we go. Okay, so thankfully it did keep those edges there, and that's fine. Okay, so now we've got the core belts in there. We haven't got every single belt in there. We haven't got gloves made yet, so we can't make the belts of those gloves, but we've got the core kind of belts implemented in there. So hopefully so far it's looking nice as well for you guys at home there. Okay, and just looks like my collar got changed a little bit. Let me just tweak that. Okay, and let's see. Push it down a bit. It's a bit too sitting up. Push it down. There we go. And same with this guy. He's a bit too sat up. And then let's come here. Push him down a bit. There we go. Fabulous. Okay, well, our character's starting to come together slowly but surely. She is starting to come together. Okay, putting the belts in there really does help add that extra layer of design to it now, so we can see how our design's all sort of coming together. This vest here, we actually don't need it anymore, so we do have the other vest standing by there. So let's select that vest, deselect it, and then we'll delete that too before we forget about its existence. There we go. Okay, so now that subtool is just the straps, as it should be. Okay, right, fabulous guys. Okay, I'm going to leave that video there. We've got the straps in, everything looks pretty good so far. I'm happy with it. I've said that, but actually, is there still a vest present? It's the inside is still present. Okay, good. Right, good job. Let's get that. Mask it off. Edges. Mask it off. Edges. Actually, you know what? Let's do sneaky. Let's weld points, and we'll do auto groups. Aha! There you go. Now the vest in its entirety can be selected, and in the same stroke, be deleted from history. And now we have the vest and the vest straps separated. Excellent. Okay, wonderful. She's coming together, looking pretty good so far. We'll just go ahead and carry on in the next video.